Hi, hello, welcome everybody. Welcome to this conversation about parenting. And since you've heard some of the other recordings earlier about me speaking about my personal experience of motherhood and being a mother, and my conversation with some other friends speaking about what really being mother mean to them. Today, I thought we should also have a conversation about what being father really means. And for that, I have a very dear friend and coach, Pradeep Natarajan, with me from Pune, India. Pradeep and I have been in the same cohort when we were training for our coach training program. And Pradeep is an executive coach, a leadership development guru, and a CXO consultant. He's consulted entrepreneurs for more than 20 years before getting into the coaching full time. And Pradeep is also very actively involved with the ICF Pune chapter as their secretary and director for outreach. Welcome, Pradeep, and thank you so much for making time for this conversation today.
Oh, thank you so much, Komal. It's my pleasure to share a screen with you today. I know how much parenting means for you, and you know how close I am even to my daughter. So I guess we're going to have some cherished moments sharing today.
Absolutely. And before we go further in our conversation, I want to make clear to everybody we did not decide to wear red.
Yeah.
It's not a code for the
Yes.
conversation. It's just happened
Yes, it just happened.
that we both ended up wearing red.
Yes, yes.
Okay, Pradeep. So, right from the get go,
Hmm.
what does really being father mean to you?
Actually, that's quite a deep question to answer. And I guess it's quite difficult for me to put it in just a few words, and I'll try and attempt to do that. But I think if I have to really sum it up in one short sentence, it would be one of the best heartful experiences that I can have with anybody I feel in this lifetime. I feel being a father to my daughter is one of the most cherished relationships I have.
And what
And
makes it so cherished? And don't shorten your words, go all out. I know you're a very
okay.
heart centered person. So take this space and just let us in
Right,
on your experience.
right. So, so if I go back to a few decades back, I remember in 1995, I was in my second year of college, probably first or second year of college, and I got this dream where I see this small baby in the train. I'm traveling in a train and I see a small baby and a baby girl. And it's like I'm really having a great time with her. I can still see that vivid scene in front of me and what I experienced in that dream. And I said, wow, it would be such a wonderful experience to really have this in my real life. And fast forwarding it to 2015, when my daughter was born, I think I started quite cherishing that relationship right from the first moment go. So I was with my wife in the maternity room delivering the baby, and I wanted to see the baby, and I was so overwhelmed. The nurses, instead of taking care of my wife, probably were trying to console me because I was so much in tears.
Happy
you know,
tears.
I'm into astrology and everything, and I would like, note the right time of birth. And it was like a freeze pain moment for me. I didn't know what is happening.
Wow.
And it was seriously a very moving experience. And when I held her in my hands for the first time, oh my God, I think that's one of the greatest joys I've ever had. And that's how it was. And again, fast forwarded to somewhere around 2020, what happened was my daughter, her name is Rishima, and Rishima just came wearing a particular frock and she said, Papa, how do I look? And suddenly I had goose flesh because it was the same girl that I'd seen way back in 1995. And I said, how did I take this long to recognize her? It means that I've already seen her. And I had tears in my eyes. And it was like, I was so frozen. She was like, Papa, what's wrong with you? Papa, what's wrong with you? And I had tears in my eyes. And she said, what happened? I said, Bebu, I call her Bebu. That's her pet name. I said, I've seen you back in 1995. She said, how is that possible? I said, it's okay. I just hugged her, kissed her, and that's how it's been. So, quintessentially, if I say it's been one of the most enriching experiences. It's been one of those most beautiful experiences where I've seen the fountain of love overflow from within me. It's just like there, and just feeling that fountain of love every time I am with her, even every time she's not with me and I remember her. It's so amazing.
That's so beautiful. And I would say that she's really fortunate to have you as much as you are fortunate to have her, because you've already sort of
Yeah.
dreamed of her or manifested her in your life in any ways.
Yeah.
Because the girls, especially who have really strong emotional bond with their fathers, I wouldn't say they are lucky. I would say they are very, very positive placed to have better relationships with their future partners in their life.
I agree with you, and I guess because there is such a lot of spontaneous sharing that happens, that the child blossoms her thinking in a different way. And I guess it's with any child. Like if you're open to your child, uh, it's there. But yeah, having said that, I should say, yeah, as a coach, I know my biases, and one of the biases that I did have is like when Amita told me that she's pregnant. At that moment of time, a thing came to me. Oh, is it going to be a boy or a girl?
Hmm.
And then I told her, see, I'll stop expecting from today, because if it's going to be a boy, I might be slightly disappointed because I always wanted a girl child.
Tell me, what is it about men and daughters? Because I remember when I was pregnant, way before I was pregnant, way before I was even married, when me and my husband, so we knew each other from before our marriage. And so one day he told me that, that he just loved daughters, and he knew, like, he didn't even say that I want our first child to be the daughter. He said, I know we will have a baby girl. And I was like, how come
Wow.
you're so sure, man? But that's how it was. And the first child happened to be the girl, and he was over the moon. And I was like, what? So much so that for some time after I had my daughter, I was a little, this thing like, okay, so now you've got this little girl in your life and all your attention is focused on her, and I don't exist at all. So what is it like? What is it
Yeah.
like? Men want daughters. Like, is it a common thing
Yeah.
or is it something specific to
I,
you
I,
and my
I,
husband?
Komal, I guess it's for all men. It's for all men. See, if I have to see it from an esoteric viewpoint, it is like the completion of Shiva and Shakti, the male and the female element. So,
Hmm.
uh, we feel that sort of a completion in two relationships in our life. So one is with our better half, and the other is with our children. It could
Hmm.
also be with any other friend or so, but not so uninhibited and complete. Because, when it is with your wife or with your child, you are just yourself. And you don't like, I don't think I can go and kiss maybe a small baby girl the way I would kiss Rishima holding in my hands, right? Because in some manner, society doesn't look at things the way it is. Like it's like a mixed bag of feelings that people have when they see such things happening. So in these two relationships, if you go to explore in a husband and wife relationship, you also see this element of completion happening in you at various levels. It's at a physical level, at an emotional level, at a mental level, and even at a causal level, right? But when it comes to like a baby girl, for example, it's it's that same type of a love, but it's in a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful bundle of joy. It's in a type of a package which cannot go missed, which is so cherished. It's like a mini version of the Shakti in front of you, and how you can experience it. So I think, in the best possible words, if I have to say it, it's probably that reason that men are really so crazy about their daughters, and that bond is very different. And I have seen it that if I probably had a son, I would be more biased in my bringing of him. I would be little more strict, little less open, etc. But when it comes to the daughter, it is not. So I know I'm quite conscious about that type of a bias, but I don't know where it comes from, but it's there. When it comes to a daughter, it's something free, uninhibited, and it's just there.
Yeah, and I think maybe women would say that they have some sort of that openness and very easy flowing relationship with their sons, or vice versa, perhaps.
Yes, perfectly. So I don't have a son, so I haven't seen that experience with my wife at least. But yes, seeing my friends' wives, etc., I have seen that polarity matching happening.
Does exist.
It is, yes.
Okay.
And that's why most of the men are good old mama's boys, even as they grow. So goes without saying. Yeah,
And
but a
Papa's princesses.
yeah, Papa's princesses, but Papa's princesses are different. Like, you age and you are 80 and you still have that princess in front of you. She might be away from you, not with you. It's a totally different feeling. So, I just had this fleeting experience a few months back where in my dream, I saw myself a little bit old. I think it was around 70 odd. And I saw Rishima as a full-blown lady. And I just remember glimpses of it because I'm not so clear. That dream wasn't as vivid as what it was before. But I still remember the love that I felt in that dream. And it was so amazing. And the setting looked something like, I was meeting her after some time. She had gone abroad and come. And I could feel like both, that parting away and then meeting. And it was such a cherished moment as such. So I think it's a different feeling out there.
So, do you see any sort of noticeable difference between you as a person before your daughter was born or after when she was born?
A lot, I should say, a lot. I guess what really happens when you hold a baby and she grows in front of your eyes, you're there with her, is that element of softness, that very beautiful essence of love, which is so calming, soothing, cooling, somewhere gets to you. And that washes away a big part of the aggressive, outgoing part of I being a male, I would say. So in that view, it's a very soothing type of a thing. And the very outlook of how I look at situations, any situations, it could be corporate situations, business situations, or relationships, everything alters with it. It does change. There is some amount of calmness, um, a smoothness in the relationships. I think compassion goes to a different level combined with empathy. I
Right.
think that's where it gets impacted the most. The compassion and empathy factor grows manifold after having a girl child. And just she growing with you.
That's wonderful. And so, was it always like an easy transition in the role of a father? Or did you go through some challenges or some pain points or anything? Like, how has it been?
I guess it's been, touchwood, it's been as smooth as it could be. And I feel, I don't think even a little bit of a resistance, not even a 0.01% resistance anywhere. It's been a very, very smooth relationship. I guess the only blips that probably I ever have in this relationship is that I don't over pamper her and have to show sometimes my, like, you can't do this. No, this is not done. So that, she knows that, okay, yeah, Papa is watching and this shouldn't be done. I guess other than those small blips which is there, it's like a very, very smooth sailing relationship. How can I tell you, Komal? It will be an understatement. I hope she doesn't see this video. She's going to be spoiled as such. Seriously. Because, she'll take her chances with me.
She will know that.
So,
But I am sure, children are very, very perceptive right from the very young age. They learn so much through observation and perception that they probably know their parents much better than we think they really know us. So I'm sure she would have already known that, like daddy is a little softy goofball for me.
yeah.
So does she really get her way around quite easily?
I guess she doesn't even have to try much, She's so sweet and so forthcoming. Uh,
Hmm.
both my wife and I both can't say a no because she has a way of putting it. She's like a typical Aquarian, so she gets a way around it.
Smart.
So it's like she would just come and say, how would it be? Like, I'll just give a small example of it. So yesterday was our 15th anniversary.
Oh,
And yeah,
congratulations.
thank you. And after school, we picked up her from school and we went out to have lunch. And I thought it's high time I tell her that the stories that she knows about Santa that I've been telling her all this time, I need to bust it out because her friends had started telling, this is not true. There is nothing called Santa and all. It's your papa only doing it. So what had happened is like we were in Haridwar. We had gone on a trip to Haridwar last December. So on Christmas Eve, we were inside the hotel and everything. And she said, would Santa still come here? All the windows, everything are closed. It's so cold here. So how will Santa come? I said, Santa is a magical person. He'll come. So what I had done is before itself from Amazon, I had ordered a very cute looking penguin soft toy for her. And I had kept it packed. Like to such an extent that, I'd wrapped it in so many things that even while unpacking, she doesn't see all that. And then she gets up in the morning and she's the penguin by her side. I said, I heard some noise. I think Santa came and gave it to you. So you should have seen the joy on her face. So she's like, she told her friends, y'all didn't get your gifts. Probably Santa didn't hear your message loud and clear. I communicated from the heart, y'all communicated from the mind. So see, I am a gift here. So of course, the other kids are not going
What?
to take this, right? Yeah. So it was like that. So when it comes to this time, so I know that there was this toy in Hamlin that she had her eyes on. And I said, ask Santa, he will give it to you. And I decided that, I'll buy it and keep it ready. So I felt after that thing happened, I need to really tell her. So I said, Bebu, I want to tell you a truth today that, Santa and all is fake. So she said, how did the soft toy come then? You bought it from before and kept it, but I didn't even see it in the packaging. I knew you might do something like that, but I saw the packaging, nothing was there. I said, no, 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 it was me. I had got it for you. And there is nothing called Santa or anything like that. So she's saying, no, there is a Santa, but he's not Nicholas someone, Father Nicholas someone, like the real name of Santa. She said, my Papa is my Santa, she said. I said, okay, great.
So
So
Papa has
yesterday,
been Santa forever.
yeah. So then she got to know, but I could see her mood going down, like, that larger than life thing, that dream that you have, like Santa comes on a sleigh and comes and gives you all good things,
I
etc.
know. It's
So it,
quite
it,
interesting.
it was
This
something like
year,
that.
even I busted the myth for my son. I told him, And I was like, this is what I want you to know. And he was like,
Yeah.
so how? So, and
Yeah.
he was like, so all this time you've been buying the kids and keeping it? Then who eats the cookies and who drinks the milk?
Yeah. Yeah.
Did
True.
we do? And
Yeah.
he's like, oh, it's like, a balloon is sort of deflated. And then he was like, should I tell my cousin? Should I tell my friend? I said, no, let their parents do this thing.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So, you know, that's how it's been, it's like a very open relationship. And I felt like even holding back the truth from her, for example, for so many days, I shouldn't do it. I should just be myself out there, and she needs to see the world as it is, not
Yeah.
as we try and make of it. Of course, those joys are there. The Peppa, seeing a Peppa Pig and Peter Rabbit and everything else, let them pass through that. But now as she's growing, she's 7.5, she starts understanding things. I said, it's high time I tell her about the Santa mystery.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that is something very important about being parents is that you do want to give your children the best, but you also don't want to keep them away from the realities of life because life isn't always rosy. It's
Absolutely.
going to be challenging.
Yes,
So
yes, yes.
we do need to prepare our children for the times when we are not around to do things for them, when they
Right,
got to handle on their own.
right. And I guess it's not a very tough thing because, Komal, you would remember while we were doing the ACTP, and Anita used to, started with the basics of coaching. I used to come and share that, I'm trying to use a coaching approach even with Rishima, because she was like around 3, 4 that time. And I said that, let me have a type of coaching approach. And I read this thing that, uh, for any typical kid between the age of 2 years to 9 years, we give more than 1 lakh commands a year to a kid.
Wow.
That is 1 lakh commands a year. I said, oh my God, what are we doing? Are we busy allowing a kid to grow, or are we busy telling a kid how to grow?
Hmm.
And I said, this is not something that I really want to do. And it was very clear. So, as you said, on those type of harsh realities or whatever it is, also, uh, I equally open up to that and tell her, like, for example, yesterday a thing happened, like a guest came to invite us for a marriage. And she said, that this person passed away to cancer. So I've been seeing, Rishima, that the passing over to the other side thing is not taken very well by her, because she feels, it leaves so many people devoid of loved ones,
Hmm.
etc., and all that stuff. So she's like little worried when it comes to these type of. So she said that, why did that small Bhaiya die only at 17? So even if I am a teen, I can get cancer. I said, no, 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 there is nothing like that. And then I told her, what is cancer about? What happens? And I said, it happens to only a few, and there are treatments also for it. And that's why, so you get talking, and even you share with them the realities of life. It's not just like the goody goody things and not talking about it. Like, it gets so sensitive when you have to even talk about, don't talk to strangers, or, be careful about a particular type of a touch. So, all those things are actually a part of it. But I guess that when we have a very open thing, so something that has quite inspired me a lot of being a parent is something that I read like years back of Khalil Gibran, that
Hmm.
our kids are like the arrows, one shot out of the bow. They are on their way to life and we have no control over them.
Yeah.
What we can be is good custodians for them and give them the
Yes.
very best. And
Absolutely.
that's really inspired me to be the way I am, I would say, thanks to Khalil Gibran. Oh my, this is crazy.
Yeah,
Yeah,
because I know that little poem or those few words about children that Khalil Gibran said has been
yeah,
huge, perspective shifting for me as well. And whatever he said, like it just, you don't even need to think too deep into it. It just makes sense. It just
right.
feels right. It just feels like,
Yes.
yes, if we can sort of take care of our children in that manner, like without trying to be their owners, but just trying to be their caretakers.
Right.
I think that does a lot of good to them, to us, and to the world where they're going to be in future.
You bet, Komal. And I guess, doesn't that enhance the nature of a relationship with them? You
Absolutely. It
know,
makes it very
with too much
easy
of
to raise.
possessiveness and thinking that only, okay, only we have to give the best, having that sort of an angst in you that, are we really being the best for ourselves? Because, I guess it's a matter of progression and evolution as human beings, that we feel that what we've missed, we need to give it to our children.
Hmm.
Uh, you know, and I guess, yeah, that's one place where my wife really helps me out with understanding things. Like, my daughter has 36 soft toys, and the one that I got for her yesterday, like the snowy owl, is the 37th. So I told her, do you know, baby, in my whole childhood, I had one small brown teddy bear, and I held on to it till one day a dog came and bit it, and it was all in shreds.
Oh my God.
And see, you have 37 of them. Do you really want to go beyond this? But you still, each one is so cute, right? So they're like my babies. Would I feel like having these babies when I grow big? I will not, right? And I said, okay, there is a point in it. It's fine. But I said that, why shouldn't we? She said that it's only so much rupees. Why can't we buy it? I said, see, look at things in a different manner. You have 37 soft toys. There are kids who don't even have one soft toy in their life. They probably don't have even two pairs of clothes to wear in a whole year. How about taking one of these soft toys and going and giving them and making them feel happy about it? You know, that is what we are looking at. It's not about we saving the money. It's about how much of our resources we are using for ourselves and for others.
Hmm.
So she said, yes, yes, yes. So, Papa, on my birthday, can I go and give everybody soft toys? She said. I said, yes, if you feel like we'll have a small birthday party and all, and then we will go ahead and do it. And we have always had a tradition, whenever my grandfather's ceremonies would come, like death anniversaries and all those would be coming, we moved on from the rituals of being a Brahmin and doing the Shraddh and all that, and going and giving food for the poor.
Hmm.
And I see that, Rishima has been there right from the time she has been born. She has been with us and seen us do all that.
Doing all of that. So it
Yeah.
sort of
And
comes
she also,
easy to
it
her.
comes
Yeah.
easy to her.
Yeah.
So when my father came and told this time that I feel like doing the Shraddh this time, 4 years we haven't done. So she was going and busily telling him that, no, 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 you're not going to do all this. You don't realize we are a part of a bigger matrix. Okay, these are all demigods we pray to. You need to only concentrate on Supreme God. Don't pray to Pitrus and all this. And she got talking. My papa is like, what are you teaching her? I said, I'm not teaching her anything. We just joined a workshop. She joined us and she learned everything. I said, I did teach her. So, kids notice those and do. Yeah, and that's a place, like, coming to that software, that's a place where I feel I need to slightly regulate myself, etc.
Yeah.
But I guess it's little bit of a conscious effort there. That's all. Otherwise, it's all
Yeah, I understand. And
unconscious.
it's a very natural thing because, there is no school to parenting. There's no place where we go and get trained to become the parents. We learn it as we become parents. It's like a on the job training.
Yes.
And in this on the job training, we depend quite a lot on our past memories and experiences. And sometimes it's very natural for all of us to go to that space and say that, okay, if I was a child in that situation, how was my experience, how my parents did. So
Yeah.
anything, if it had been like painful or traumatic, we'll say, I'm not going to do this.
Right. Right.
Or because I was brought up like this and that's how I know or I learn, I will do this. And
Yes.
this technique can work or can it just sabotage. It
No,
depends
I
on
think
the
I think it
situation.
works very beautifully, Komal. Actually,
Yeah.
what you said was so right. See, what happens is we sometimes live out of our experiences, right? It goes without saying because it's something unconscious, subconscious. Uh, I guess one place where I was slightly lucky that with Rishima, how things happened was suddenly over a period of time, I don't know how this, now that you're speaking, this came to me as a pattern. She would be saying, Papa, when you were a kid, what you used to do?
Mm.
So she would ask the same question in many situations. So, when I would be saying that as or sharing it with her as a third person, like, looking at who I have been and sharing that memory, two things are happening. I
Mm.
feel the ebb and the yeah, rise of emotions in that situation. Correct.
Right.
Usually, what happens? It comes out very consciously
Yes.
or subconsciously. Like, it can come like, I didn't get it. What do you think? It is like
Yeah.
this.
Yeah.
Those outbursts can happen. So, thank God, in this place, it probably helped me quite differently, I should
Yeah.
say,
Yeah.
and that became easier for me to tone it down, because then I started living those memories as a child also concurrently as she was growing with situations. So one guy tried to bully her and her friends. So she said, did you have a bullying experience in your life? Then I shared with her how I felt when I was in the second standard, when I was a head boy, how a person tried to bully. And then it's the talk of the whole society now. So, like 3 days back, I went down to, and her best friend came and said, we know how you stood up to the bully when you were a head boy. We will also not allow. I said, she came and told you and everything. Said, yes, yes, we'll also stand up. I said, good, okay, fine. So it happens, it's very cute in a way.
Yeah.
But that
Isn't it
also shows how
so?
mindful we should be
Yeah. And isn't
what we
it
do.
like so interesting that the children aren't just connecting to you as a grown up adult and a father, but also
Mm.
connecting to you as a child?
You are so right, Komal. That is spot on. And that's what I'm saying. That's really very lucky of me, because that experience is a different experience.
Mm.
Otherwise, it would usually happen that we have memories when we relate to situations, etc. But when your kid is coming and asking you, she is, sitting in your godi and asking you these things, and you're telling her like a story, there is a different thing that starts happening.
Yeah.
It's that mix of both of them. It's very therapeutic.
Yeah.
Actually, it's been very therapeutic for me too.
Absolutely. Like your own child is extracting the child from you within, and then for a
Yes,
moment you
yes,
both can be like sitting and chatting like the same aged
yes,
people and
yes.
sharing the experiences.
And
Yeah.
in so many ways, I feel she's like my father, my father in the sense she's like fathering me.
Yeah.
So it so happened that we just had some small argument, and I told Amita, this is it. Okay. So she's telling, Papa, 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 1 minute. You don't have to be rude when you say this is it. Mama is hearing, right? And what's been happening, as you know, I have been into Vedic astrology and all. I keep seeing some videos on YouTube, etc. So she's been hearing. She's saying she's Shravan Nakshatra, and her ears, the symbol of it is a ear, which
Yeah.
means she's sensitive to hearing. Don't shout at her. What bad are you doing for her? I said, I'm really sorry. Thank you for reminding me, Vedu. I said, I got present to it.
It's
My wife
interesting.
tells me the same thing. I may probably not take it that way. See, that's the softness of the baby girl. I don't know what.
That's the softness of having a daughter.
Yes.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's amazing. So, when we were talking about your childhood and all, I also wanted to explore like how have been your relationship with your parents when you've been growing up and all. So,
Right.
what sort of experience have that been?
Okay. Pleasant and unpleasant also. So it's like a mixed bag. So I've been very close to my mom, and it's like, I think, I remember those moments when every time I would come back from school, the first thing I would do is, get off my school uniforms and all, change, wash up, and have tea and some snacks and tell her what all happened during the day, what this teacher told me, that teacher told me, etc. And I used to really love this because that was like the best time of my childhood, when I would confide with my mom and tell
Hmm.
her, the goods and bads, whatever happened, etc. that got so much into me. And as you know, I made my transition from a full-time business, to the
Yeah.
people transformation space, especially because I wanted more bandwidth, more time, and I didn't want to be so occupied. I wanted to really not lose out on all these small joys.
Moments of life.
Even now, every day, mostly, other than the time that I have full day programs, when I'm not there, when she comes back from school, we have the same thing. I
Mm,
have to talk to her. So, I go to leave her at school and she comes back with a neighbor of mine. Otherwise, when I go to pick her up, we are like talking. She would say, I did this handiwork, I did that, I did this. That's like the best part of it. So, so whatever I probably did in my childhood with my mom is something that is happening with her also. In terms of my relation with my dad, it's been very, very torrid. Uh, I think he was those angry young men. And I would still tell him, like, even day before I said, I can't call you angry young man now. You are even an angry old man now. So some people just don't change. So, that is something that didn't quite work very well with me. And
mm,
it took me a lot. I think the way my dad was, probably, to be very frank, and I've come to terms with it, is like he was a blessing to me in my life by being an icon of who I shouldn't be,
mm,
both as a parent and as a husband.
mm,
And I am really in gratitude for that,
mm.
you know, because there are we as human beings learn from contrast. We learn out of love and we
Yes.
also learn out of pain.
Yeah.
So
So in both presence and absence of something,
yes,
we get to
yes,
understand its meaning.
yes,
Yeah.
yes. So what was painful for me as a kid, which is not so painful now, when you revisit, you start understanding, okay, as a kid,
Yeah.
this is what I expected, this didn't happen. Why did he do it? Now you know it, right?
Exactly.
But you've transcended that. But that did teach me what not to do with my children.
Right.
So it's been like a mixed bag and a very rewarding experience, I should say.
That's great. Lovely. Well, it's quite a time, Pradeep, and I
Oh my
am
God, I can't imagine.
and I'm loving our conversation, and I think we can go on and on and on.
You bet, you bet. Yeah, but oh, I didn't know how an hour passed really.
But is there anything like your message for other fathers who would be listening, or other parents who would be listening to this conversation, and because you must also be noticing and observing other people around in their life with their children. So is there anything specific that you want to leave as your message for everybody?
I guess, especially for fathers, the message that I would probably want to share, what's coming to me, is allow your daughter to be in your life more and more.
Mm.
When I need to say allowing them, it's not that you are trying to be there. Be in a way and cherish and create that bond with your daughter in a way that they grow on you and inside you. Because
Mm.
as they grow on you, they are also growing inside you. And then that beautiful thing starts blossoming, you know?
Yeah, it's
And
like making more room and space for them to
yes,
come to you and them to
yes.
be there.
And another thing is there's a lot to learn from our daughters. And they're always there ready to say things. Like even our spouses tell us a lot of things, and there's a lot to learn from. We often quite ignore them at times. As a girl child, she observes you and she might come up with cherished moments and cherished learnings. Be open to it and allow that to happen. It's not just a one-way traffic where you are trying to impart something as a result of you being elder to her.
Yeah,
You also allow that process for them to, uh, guide you, show them what they think.
yeah,
That's the wonderful experience of being.
yeah. For them to come and dig out the child from within you in the
Yeah.
moment. I think that was one of the most
And the
beautiful
third and the
points in
most
the
important
story
thing
that
that
you
comes to
shared.
me, the third and the most important thing, and that's a thing that most men don't talk about because that's their softest side, is that one day that she's not going to be the baby girl for you
Mm,
anymore as she grows. And she might leave the place, uh, your home, she'll get married, and things are not going to be available for you the way it is. But throughout the journey between the time she's born till that time, um, what should I say? Don't be attached with her.
mm,
Don't be so attached that you become protective about her.
mm.
Be so open with her and allow things to happen that you will be able to probably demonstrate to her that you are there to protect yourself,
Mm.
so that she doesn't have to look at a male to compensate for something as she grows or
Yeah,
after she grows, but that she's equally there to give to the male. And giving comes naturally, with you
yeah,
all as females, it doesn't matter. But still, let her know that she's strong enough within her to deal with life and that she doesn't require a papa, a elder brother, or a husband to take care of her needs or stand up for her. I think that's the message that I have.
yeah. Let her, allow her to stand for herself
Yes.
in every moment.
Yes. Yes.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Pradeep. And I wish you much more beautiful, sweeter journey with your daughter and
Thank you
in your
so
life.
much.
And it's been a blessing to have this conversation with you. And thank you for taking me back to the Khalil Gibran.
Komal, thanks to you. I'm really grateful to you because having shared this experience, it's like going down the memory lane, actually. So she's going to be turning 8 now in Jan, and it feels like going down the memory lane and actually recollecting. So thank you so much for this opportunity for openly sharing with you. And I know what sort of a parent even you are to your kids,
Yeah,
and your questions only probably help me reflect deeper. Thank you so
that's
much.
awesome. I wish her all the best. And I know that she's going to grow up to be a wise and beautiful person. And so, with that, let's conclude our conversation for today.
Sure. Thank you so much, Komal. Yeah.
Thank you. Take
See
care.
you. Yeah. Bye.
Thank you so much, everybody, for sticking up till the end and listening into this conversation. Uh, Please feel free to tell me, how did you like the conversation? What really connected to your personal experience? What stood out to you? What you took away from this conversation in the chat box and through your comments. I'm sorry. Too much of doing webinars. My language has changed into the webinar language. Please feel free to write comments and let me know how you like the content. And if there is anything that you would like to share, please do not hesitate to get in touch with me. And I'll be happy to listen into your story and your experiences as well. Please share the content with everybody, subscribe, like it, and stay with us. Thank you so much.